Marie didn't say much. She listened to me and consoled me, telling me it would be okay. After an hour, I decided I was better. I took a shower and slept on the couch. The next day, when Annie asked why she didn't wake up to see me on the bed next to her, I gave her the excuse that I didn't want to disturb her. Later that afternoon, when she left for the mall, I took the kids with me to see Marie, and while they played with her dog, we talked and I showed her the messages I transferred to my phone. Marie was shocked and so embarrassed that she began to cry. She told me how sorry she was that all this was happening, and I began to tell her it's not her fault. She began to say that maybe it was a mistake. I haven't exactly caught Annie red-handed. I knew she was really concerned for her sister if I divorced her. She knew how I treated Annie and how Annie was about to lose it all. I told Marie to help me look after the children once in a while and I would look for proof. I also made Marie promise me that she would not tell Annie anything. I did just that. I would wait for Annie to leave her phone and then I connected it to mine so I got all her messages. The day she told me she would have a get-together with her girlfriends in the suburbs for 3 days, I agreed. I had already let go of any feelings for Annie at this point. She was a bad wife and an unfit mother who was never there with the kids. I knew the girlfriend's tale was a lie. She was going to meet with the Tim guy. I had asked Marie beforehand to help me get in contact with the man's wife after she said she saw his profile on Facebook. I texted the wife and we met up that day and I told and showed her everything. She said she already suspected it but had no proof. She said Tim told her he had to travel for business and would be back after 3 days. Ironic. After 2 days, when Annie was supposed to return the next day and after I found out the location of Annie and Tim, I dropped the kids off with Marie's mother and hopped in my car with Marie and Tim's wife, driving to the hotel where my wife and the bastard were. It wasn't very hard to bribe the receptionist after explaining our ordeal and get the key to the room. We all went to the door, Marie shaking, Tim's wife on the verge of tears and me. I felt nothing but disgust and seething anger. We walked in on them in the act and armed with my phone ready, I snapped away before they could cover themselves. Annie began to beg. Marie walked up to her and slapped her while crying. Why would you do this? You had everything. Look at what you've done to yourself and your kids. I left immediately with Marie, letting Tim's wife hit and yell at her unfaithful husband as she threatened divorce. I didn't bother to talk to Tim or Annie who begged me. I just left. We drove in silence till I got to my house. That's when I let it all out for the last time, screaming and crying in pain as Marie calmed me down. Once I was calm and with Marie watching, I sent the pictures and the chats to her mother and the contacts of the family members I knew. I also posted it on the timeline of every single page she had. Marie apologized as though it was her fault, the innocent woman crying over her foolish sister. I didn't leave the house even as Marie went to bring the kids back. Annie didn't come home either and there were a lot of messages on my phone from her family but I ignored it. That night, Marie and I slept together. No, we didn't actually hook up, but we fell asleep on the couch together after putting the kids to bed. There was no reason to and no thoughts about it, but it was calming. The next day I contacted my lawyer to prepare the divorce papers. I had Annie's things moved to her parents' house. That afternoon she came begging and crying on her knees, blaming the devil, lust, Tim, anything but her. I threatened to call the police if she didn't leave. She didn't. She stayed there till evening when her parents came and used that opportunity to get in the house. They apologized on her behalf as well, but it wasn't their fault. They understood my decision to leave her and begged that they be able to see their grandchildren when everything was over. They were very disappointed in Annie, everyone was. When Annie saw Marie in the house, she began to say it was all her sister's plan from the beginning. That Marie wanted to take me away from her. That was the second time Marie slapped her, telling her if she had been a fit mother she wouldn't have to be here and her marriage to me would have been fine, but Annie chose to mess around. I threw her out of my house eventually. I didn't care where she went. The divorce happened and like the court ordered, I split everything in half and gave half to her. I moved with Marie for a while as per her request as I searched for a house, possibly in another state. Thankfully the kids did not miss a mother that was never there. They were too young anyway, they felt better being with their Aunt Marie. Things settled after a few months and I was on my feet again, mentally. I didn't care where or what Annie did and I haven't seen her since, but the times I did, she would burst into tears begging me. Marie, like I said, was an amazing woman and just what I needed in my life. She brought me peace and healed me, and after 2 years we were together, then engaged and about to get married. She has been the best thing that has ever happened to me. Even though I was in an insane amount of time, I can't help but look back on what happened as a good thing, because I would never meet the actual true love of my life. I love you, Marie.